Liberal leadership hopeful Mark Carney is vowing to scrap the consumer carbon tax if he becomes the next party leader.
So it means that you'll no longer have to pay more to fuel your car or heat your home. But when you choose an energy efficient appliance or an electric car or home insulation, you will be rewarded, and we will get the big polluters to pay for it.
Carney says Canada's current climate policy has become too divisive and says he will instead offer Canadians incentives to go green. For more, we turn to CTV's chief political correspondent and host of Power Play and Question Period, Vassy Kapelos. A lot to break down today, Vassy. Let's start with the Liberal leadership race. What's your take on what we heard today from Mark Carney?
Yeah, I think it's interesting he's moved away from the consumer carbon price, but totally unsurprising. And that is because the policy itself, the carbon tax, has become so deeply unpopular and so much so associated with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And so I think this was expected. The campaign had certainly signaled it would go this way. Whether it convinces, people beyond the Liberal leadership race, Canadians writ large, that, this individual in particular, Mr. Carney, who has in the past stood by the consumer carbon price, will move away from it, I think is a different story. But at this point in time, in order to clear the way for other policies and sort of a different message, something that differentiates himself from the current Prime Minister, he kind of had to do this. It's also worth pointing out that Chrystia Freeland, his main opponent, did the same thing.
Right, of course. All right, Vassy, let's go back to tariffs for a moment and news they will be implemented beginning tomorrow. The implications of this are huge for Canadian politicians, to even put it mildly.
Yeah, very much so. It's honestly like a tectonic, earth-shattering thing in Canadian politics. Everybody is reorienting all over it, or around it, I should say, the leadership race, each of the political parties, mainly because the big question is, does this become the big ballot box question whenever the election is held? It feels that way right now. Heather?
Vassy, as always, thank you for your insight.